Blog Talk Radio.
Hello. Hey there, everybody. Are you there, Rob?
Hello, hello. Good evening.
Hello. Good evening. So, you picked that song. Why did you pick that song? You want to tell us?
Yeah, I love that song. That's one of my favorite songs, actually. Like with the Rolling Stones, there's always quite a bit of a backstory and all the debauchery and everything that goes into it. Well, one, it's something that it's like eternally almost relevant with what's happening even now, like the apocalyptic nature of the song. And yeah, I just love the vocals by Mary Clayton. And there's a whole backstory to that. I won't get into that right now, maybe later. But I love her featured on the song. Great song, yeah.
Yeah, you can tell us the backstory if you want. Quickie version, I mean.
Well, yeah, essentially, the Stones were recording in America, and the producer at the time, he was saying that, what this tune really needs is a female vocalist. So Jagger just said, well, then get one, because obviously, they haven't got all the contacts where they were in America. So the producer phones up Mary Clayton, who I mentioned, who was a kind of a gospel choir singer, church singer, not really a well-known name or an established solo act, but called her up, and then she's quite pregnant at the time as well, and it's after midnight that they phone her up. So she goes in, and her husband answers the phone, and it's like, you have to go, it's the Rolling Stones, of course, who wouldn't? And then she goes and just at around 3 minutes into the song, you hear her voice crack, she's hitting them notes, and you can even hear Jagger shout from behind the glass in the studio. He goes like, woo, because she hits these like unreal notes. And a few weeks or a little while later, they discovered that Clayton actually had a miscarriage. And then, of course, as what goes with the sort of Rolling Stones, the whole, all the stories and all the infamy and all that, is say it's because of the exertions in the song and, all the things that, was quite a heavy song. So the folklore, there we go. Some trivia facts, if any of you go to pubs and play trivia, credit me to get that as a question. Yeah.
I guess we better get to the phone, right? I don't know the area codes as good as Jay does, but I'm going to try.
Yes, if you're calling in, let us know who you are.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to play the pre-thingy,
Yeah, play it now. Never too late.
Little thing. If I could find it, that is. Oh, here it is. Okay.
This Blog Talk radio show is supported and paid for by Cosa Nostra Radio. All expressed views and opinions of the host and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of Cosa Nostra Radio and its leadership.
There you go.
There we go. Thanks, Jay, for lending your voice to that. And right, I'll go into a bit of tonight's show while you get the phones, Boo. What we wanted to do is we wanted to have a bit of a theme to tonight's show and have some sort of at least foundation in terms of inspiration and having things that are connected. We're just trying out new things, and we always want to keep this talented group on their toes, because sometimes with a bit of inspiration it brings out the best of us. So what we did is we each chose a film, a song, a painting, a poem, and a book, and we put this together. And what many of the poems tonight are based on are those films, those songs, those paintings, poems, and books. And as a general wider theme for the night as well, some of the themes that are present in those works of art and those art mediums, and then as well as the sort of inspiration, that sometimes you get inspired by a song and you write something based on that, or I think subconsciously a lot of what we write anyways is based on that. I know in a lot of my writing, sometimes afterwards I figured out, I'm like, oh, where did I get that? There's no way it could have come from my brain. And then I'm like, oh yeah, well, I nicked it from a song from someone else, So, yeah, so we have a lot of nice poems tonight. I think what we'll try and do, in the next shows, the same sort of thing. Or if we have any more, depending on how they go, try to mix this up and try to have some sort of theme and things going. I've just browsed through a few of the poems for tonight, and there's some really good things, and it's inspiring to see what people come up with based on, especially on one of the paintings. I love writing to paintings, and to see the creativity that comes into that. So I think that's very cool. But yeah, we'll see what we come up with next. All right, Boo, who do we have with us?
Okay, first we got 978. Who's calling? He's on hold. Hello? 305, I'm pretty sure that's Raz. Raz? No, it's weird. Let's try. Let's see. I think okay. I think I see that. Hello? 305? Who's that?
Hello?
Oh, I'm sure. Hey there, Rosie?
Yeah.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, how are you? You're a little low, Boo.
Yeah.
A little bit hard to hear you.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, a bit on the soft side.
Okay, so...
Use your mom voice.
Use your my mom voice. Yeah, get over here. Stop it. No, get down. No, stop. No.
No, I can hear you.
There you go. See? You're 978, right?
Me? No, I'm 707.
707. Okay. So 305. Who's that? I think that's Raz.
Yeah, it's me, Raz. How you doing, Rob?
Hey.
Hey, Raz. Nice to have you. Thanks for calling in.
And 978. I don't know who that is. 978. Maybe.
Doctor number.
Hey. It's a goof. I guess they're on. I don't know who that is. What?
.com.
Anyway, there may be gonna come back later. So you want to start with Rob?
Yeah. Well, the show goes on. I'll just ask pleasantries. Is anyone in a rush? Does anyone need to read and run?
I'm willing to stay as long as you don't decide to throw me out, Rob. I'll be here with you.
Whatever's big about.
This is to make up for all the times you have your shows and I don't call in that I'm heard. So I'm glad I came quite in early this time.
Okay.
You're always supportive, Raz.
Yeah, as long as we got some poems, we'll keep going. Right. So we'll start with we'll just start at the top then. I think we have a collaboration from Stephen and Kay.
Yeah.
Boo, do you have the audio for that? Yeah?
Yeah. When you drop the link, I'll get the thing, okay?
Right. All right, I'm ready.
I thought they were in order, but what's the name of the poem?
The goose.
What's the name of the poem? That's what. Not order.
Hostility.
Yeah, hostility.
I thought it was wrong.
Hostility is always closer.
Oh, here we go. Okay.
Definitely a feeling everyone goes through sometimes.
Hostility is always closer than a whispered scream, by Stephen 76 and K. The squinting evil eye sees less than the wide eye filled with wonder. Cerulean flames dance upon pinholed aluminum.
The gun rests beside the headboard, on and cloaked in obsidian. Sweaty groans as his eyes penetrate the shell. The occasion of flesh, fettered with fleas from his filth. His death or glory roars proudly.
Ravenous, flickering constellations fade into the Ebon event horizon vacuum, piercing the snarled lips of angrily veiled castle walls.
A blow to the head, vertigo hazes vision. Stab and a slice, these susurrations of the rusty blade, as a price paid for pillaging.
Droves of children march through the abandoned toy store. Pinwheel eyes spin on socket breeze. Kneecaps and rib cages block breath. Kindling dreamcatcher bursts into flames. Claustrophobia drowns dread of the diving bell. Finger gun grit is just a shout away. 1950s faux picture portrait grins at.
Blood on the walls. And poem.
All right. Yeah, thanks so much for the audio, and thanks so much for taking part and for nailing 2 of the prompts as well. That's quite something. I think it's a fantastic collaboration. It's always difficult for me to do collabs, but it seems like you know each other quite well, so that worked well. I like in the title the juxtaposition with whispered and scream. I think whispered can be interpreted as something that's stifled or muffled, or something that's someone that's oppressed, and I think that works to the prompt of the song. I think in the opening stanza as well, squinting eyes, it's pretty much one of the best ways to describe Clint Eastwood as well. And then in stanza 2, some lovely alliteration. It works really well. It's really a pleasant sounding poem as well, which I always appreciate without being overly reliant on rhyme or anything sort of structured or forced. It just really works really well. It comes together well. Raz, what did you think?
There's definitely descriptions here of the term and subject hostility, which can be interpreted as merely environmental at the beginning. You have what the poets were discussing. It comes in different forms, and then they start off mentioning constellations fading, and then there's also the history of violence with castle walls, and from there it's a present state of a kind of political nightmare that children in every nation kind of get in the way of politics, and so we just don't know what to do with the condition we are now, but leaving it on that disturbing note of the blood on the walls, it's almost like stating there are these victims of hostility, and we can't read anything else but that color red.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, especially what you nailed is some of the phrasing, and it's just fantastic. I mean, pinholed aluminum, as I say, across the pond, and then even some of the language used in this is just really beautiful. Like what I was saying originally, the language in this is fantastic. Boo, your thoughts, and then Irish Rose.
Can Rose go first? I'm sorry. Rose, could you comment first? I'm sorry, I have to read it again. So let Rose go.
Yeah, Rose, do you have a comment for Stephen and Kay?
Oh, yeah, I do. I thought Boo was going to comment, but yes, this is very much very much like the movie Gran Torino, but taking a different direction, just a tad. And like you were expressing, the language here is just really quite interesting. I really like the third stanza. Ravenous flickering constellations fade into the Ebon event horizon vacuum, piercing the snarl lips of angrily veiled castle walls. And I thought that the first two lines of that, and I thought it was just beautiful. And the whole emotional bend on this toward the end of the poem starts to get more dark, and you can feel something is going to be happening. And as the reader, once you get for me, when I got to the last part of it, that I knew there was going to be death somewhere because, he dies in the movie. But it was very graphic, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree. It does tie in well with the film. Boo, you can go into some of the reasons why you chose the film and how it works with that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I love Clint Eastwood, and this movie. Racism is the big one in this movie, and his character, I like how he turns around. You know what I mean? He's so cold and so and then turns around and he opens his heart and he gets to know these people. And I think the culture that he portrays very well. On this poem, I like how he put the picture there too, because I can never get a gift to work on my poems like that. But in the squinting eye, I see less of the wide-eyed with wonder. That says a lot right there. Clint Eastwood was a badass in every movie, but this one he was soft and he kind of turned around. I liked that ravenous flickering constellation fade, the ebon horizon vacuum. This whole thing is very descriptive, very beautiful. And that movie too, he turns around, he starts to love the people, care for the people. I mean, he's a hard ass, and then blood on the walls, like. Yeah, this is really strong, really good. I think it's just, for me, just speaking of violence and not to judge before you take the, judge a book. I can great to the prompt, too, the movie prompt. And thanks for sticking to the prompt, not one, but two. Awesome.
Exactly. Right. If no one's in a rush, let us know if you need to go, but I'll stay in the order. I'll drop Lawrence on the boards, and
actually, okay. After Lawrence, can we let the Bose and go after that? Okay.
Sure.
Are you gonna read Lawrence or? Okay.
Yeah, I'll read for Lawrence, and then is that okay, Rose? Is that fine?
Yes, it's fine.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll read for Lawrence 67. All right, so Lawrence 67, give me shelter from the storm. Give me shelter from the storm, something different from the norm. Invite me as I walk by. Tell your kids I won't make them cry. Give me something warm to eat. Let me rest my blistered feet. Let me sleep in your spare room, or on the couch and do it soon. Put a few bucks in my pocket. Close the door if you don't have to lock it. Tell your friends what was my name, so that they can call all do the same. Have compassion and don't be judgmental. This is what we all have to do, because that homeless person could be you. God is watching forevermore what we do with the ones that they call poor. End of poem. Yeah, this was it was a great take on the song, and a very good message. Definitely. I mean the thought of especially now after what's happened in the world, the pandemic and all that, with the homelessness that I've noticed in my own country in South Africa, and then one that follows the news, I've seen that it's, in places like all the big cities, like from Paris to London to New York and LA, it's a bigger problem of what has happened with the pandemic, and this reminds us. It's almost it leans in a biblical sense to that whole thing of open your door for the homeless. It could be God is watching. So yeah, very good message, and it's extremely relevant. And I like how he tied it into the prompt as well. Rose, what did you think of this poem by Lawrence?
Oh, I really enjoyed it. I think it's really good to hear poems that talk of kindness and talk about morals and talk about value. And I don't hear a whole lot of them, but I found that this was really provoking and profound and powerful in an empathetic way. And I really thought he did a really good job on this. Kudos to you.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, there's so many, so many of us actually. It's just one moment or one scenario away from being on the streets. They say usually, unless you got sorts of reserves that I know a lot of us don't have. But one decision away from being on the streets. So I agree with that. With the that homeless person could be you, as Lawrence so rightly points out. And Raz, what were your thoughts?
Rob, we got something on hold real quick. So who's 720?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead, Raz. Sorry.
I see this homeless crisis to be pretty severe. Human displacement reaches a near billion on average worldwide, and there's no sense in letting others go without the very basics of their own human rights. And so although you try to take it away from one nation, it just keeps on growing in very massive proportions when you think of the global scale. And this is definitely, possibly not any step forward for the humanitarian movement, that there's ever any severe crisis of homelessness.
Yeah, well said.
Okay,
It makes you think about the reset sort of thing about you won't own anything and be happy. Now, I don't think anyone that's on the street is exactly happy. Yeah, Boo, have you got Rack and Sweet Pea?
Rack and Sweet Pea. Yep.
Yeah.
Hi guys, sorry about that. Yes. Hello.
No worries.
Boo, Sweet Pea. This is Jay's for, not mine. Sorry, guys. Oh Lord, you'll see, Rose. This isn't easy. Jay makes it look easy, but it isn't.
Well, I know. I knew this was not going to be easy. I never thought easy.
Yeah. It's yeah. How are you doing, Sweet Pea? Racky Poo?
I'm doing well.
Yeah,
I like to be held.
Did either of you hear Lawrence's poem?
Yes, I actually did.
Right. What
do you think?
Some comments, maybe.
First off, I love Give Me Shelter from the Storm. I like as the very first stanza, invite me in as I walk by, tell your kids I won't make them cry. Well, maybe I will. But I like the whole way it's put together. I like to have compassion, don't be judgmental. God is watching forevermore, and what we do with the ones they call the poor. I think it's a very universal message, and a poem where
all right.
Could be there in just a moment.
Okay.
Did you hear that?
Your last thoughts. I'm gonna drop Rose on the boards. Your last thoughts.
Yeah, This is different for him because usually, he's making us laugh and he's kind of like silly, and this is very serious. I like that he used the picture that we made. That's cute. More being, this reminds me of just, giving to somebody who has less than you and remembering human compassion and humanity, which so many people have forgotten. Just something little, something simple, a word or a smile or a doll or whatever could help somebody. And he says God is watching. And so true, when you get to Judgment Day, he's going to, I wish you would have done those things. I think this is heartfelt and good advice, really. Good job, Mark.
All right, Rose, I'll put you on the board. If you'd read for us, that'd be lovely.
Sure. Thank you. This was inspired by the prompt I chose was the untitled painting. And to me, it looked like the face of death. And I know that we have a lot of horrible tornadoes going on right now in the middle of the United States and killing people and everything. And it looked like the face of death to me for some reason. And it's untitled, so it's okay. I can say that. But anyway, so I call it Dance. And here it goes. Hurricanes dance in a compulsive romance of tangoing blue crystal light. In halls of silver strata, at a ball dance with summer winds, the trades dip boiling full at light. Across the ballroom floor, woolly wild winds flow, spinning in mighty rage-roaring ripping tides. And passionate surge love forcefully rolls, rising high over tangled life. The dance now done, drowning men thrash desperately for their lives. In poem.
Great read and great write, Rose.
Thank you.
So basically a bit about Jean-Paul Basquiat. He was in a car accident at 7 and his mother gave him Gray's Anatomy, which he memorized, all the anatomy, and he also was a big fan of Da Vinci's notebooks on the anatomy. So skulls feature a lot in his work, and in this particular artwork, Untitled, which is the highest selling American artwork, I believe, today, $110 million, I believe. And what it has in it, and how I see the hurricanes, you can see it in the angry eyes, the gnashing of teeth. Then even with the backdrop of the sums, which I read a critic once write about the painting. The sums could be a calculation of the Black Lives Lost either on the slave ships or by police brutality today. It really shouts to the prompt, the poem. I think it was excellently executed. Someone actually also, I read another piece where they compared it to some of William Burroughs' writing, where they relayed the whole thing of both being junkies, basically, but saying that they cut into the canvas because it's such a sharp thing that cuts into your senses rather than something that's gently caressing with strokes of finesse, something that's quite startling. And it goes back into the whole thing of the anatomy. The skull could be of a slave or it could be of George Floyd. It's something that's quite timeless. It's something that's relevant today as it was. I think it was painted in '82, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I think you executed it very well to the prompt, and especially with tying it into something that's very relevant to you, the hurricanes. I thought that was excellently done. Rack, your comment, please.
That's an interesting take on the skull. I don't see too well, so I wouldn't have even made out that it was a skull. But I thought that was an interesting bit of trivia too about that being the highest sold painting. But your idea of a hurricane and the destruction of a hurricane is beautifully illustrated throughout this. If it was any other picture, I would take this as being sensual. No, it's there is undeniable destruction, obviously caused by that kind of natural disaster. So it totally makes sense to tie that in as what you saw. You know, again, not being able to see that's what you showed me. So you know, you did a good job of it. You really did, because you know, again, I need someone to help me fill in the blanks, and you did it. And this is beautifully illustrated. That the language that you chose, there was quite a few phrases that were absolutely stunning. That really hit me. You know, a lot of words have emotions tied to them, intentionally or otherwise, and you really hit on some of those that have that kind of destructive feel to them. Just, you know, devastating, you know. Mm-hmm. So I really appreciated this for you know, quite a few reasons. You know, it being able to be taken more than one way, I think, is the beauty of it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Boo, if you could, have you got Jay and a comment to tell? In the meantime, Raz, could you make a comment for Rose?
Yes, there's a deep connection with religion in this rite, and the poet perceives the hypocrisy of the church on when to extol one's sins and when to have them punished or forgiven. And so
I think we're on the wrong point.
In this rite, are we talking about... oh, no, we're not. You're right.
I was going to say.
I skipped over to an entirely different rite. I'm in the church business here. I don't see what I was reading that had to do with Rose. Hold on a second here. Could you give me a minute to refresh the page?
Yeah, that's fun.
I was looking at the next preceding one by Roy KBM and the Evil Eye, but let me see.
Hey Raz, our names sound the same, but I'm the blind one.
Yeah, the dance. Okay, this is entirely different than what argument I was just stating here. Very abstract. You have that feeling of what it was with New Generation in the 80s, what will become of the Beats into the postmodern generation, and that loss when you get into that right kind of music, you know, any form of discotheque or anything that plays and moves you to the soul, that one could somehow find a way of attaining a higher sense of their own spirit, being more in tune with the rhythm.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's always fun. It's always amazing to hear the different perspectives. Jay, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
All right. I know you're in a bit of a rush, so Boo's dropped your poem.
Okay, and Momo, I'm going to try getting you that invite.
Thanks.
And here we go. This one I picked your song, Rob, Give Me Shelter, and I picked Boo's poem, which was, what was it again? Her Voice. And then I also put in Ernest Hemingway's A Farewell to Arms, and I mixed it all together, and I call this A Farewell to Arms, and it goes like this. Those first shots, fireworks on the skyline, Wolf at a desk, Bernard at the Al Rashid. Thousands of pounds of shock and awe, mesmerizing Wheel of Fortune junkies, storm no one expected, but poured into a whiskey glass to down in one swig. Fire on foreign streets, in the thirst and burn, but this wasn't risk. Move your horses to the Middle East, but can't have your Asia bonus? Put on the salad suit, right hand skyward, palm forward, repeating a chant that knots your walk to your brain. Let it break you. If it doesn't, it kills you. Only the broken pieces fit into the half-chiseled slots. Only the strong walk in the broken plots. Rain came with the floods and the deluge, a rogue wave ripping the foundations. I learned to love, even if no one understands. Love is a broken place where the strong shatter, become stronger and know everything is never enough. 2 feet on the sand, generators vibrating skulls, clearing out the urinals from the scorpions and the camel spiders. Kuwait was the sneak preview of hell. No air to breathe but to burn. Live in tents, move at night, repeat, rinse. Rub ass and back, soar on the C-130 to biop. Wake up to the same sun, new air. Look upward at the date palm, fauna, canopy, sandburn before Z Lake, finger of divinity, breaking me further in love to the pieces. Grim spots, mortar rounds in the mushrooms, shrapnel in the popcorn, battlefield crosses in the pine boxes. Left Baghdad on fire to return to the snow, more broken than you'll ever know. This is the way love flows. Everything crumbles, dust storms in the lungs, and love is the broken place. I never wanted to love again. Snapdragon fading to fall, violet and royal hues thirsty for foreign springs. My dry and arid tongue, blistered from the titanium dust, lined in the Baghdad crud. I've died, broken, to arrive here. Final point, my farewell to arms. If I break again, I am stronger, but I can take no more. Every vessel poured out eventually becomes empty, and the mended wineskins will fail with time. The world was too small for 2 flowers. Guess it's time to wilt and break again. End poem.
Yeah, damn, that was probably my favorite one of yours I've ever heard, Jay. That was amazing. Firstly, this is the first book I've ever read of Hemingway's. I love the book. And yeah, there's so much in this, and because there's quite a few of us to comment, I won't keep it too long. But for those that don't know, shock and awe, the way that it works as a metaphor in this is it's a military tactic, like I was using the Blitzkrieg and in Iraq, is saying to completely disorientate or overwhelm the. It's a tactic using those measures. I like the use of risk. The same way that like Monopoly, you can use it as something that's a critique of ideologies. In that case, it's a critique of capitalism. Risk could be related as a critique of colonialism and modern colonialism, and even further, it goes into sorts of techno colonialism. So I think that worked really well, and the way that it's almost played by some sort of cigar lounge gambling game by oligarchs, and the phrases throughout are just really very, very well done. And then the closing lines, like you said, you execute to three prompts altogether plus Hemingway's, and then the closing lines echo the title and the source of your poem with the summary of the star-crossed lovers. So I found that really, really well done, Jay.
We need to pick up 2 people that are holding us. You don't mind?
All right.
Momo, I think, and...
Okay. Raz, in the meantime, can you give us a comment, please, mate?
Yeah, JCA has talked about his experiences in the Iraqi war in the past, and this is from a soldier's perspective, which makes it all the more genuine of what there is serving in the armed forces or the military. And so when he sees Ernest Hemingway's Farewell to Arms. That's really the cry of a former generation, World War II, by comparison to the Iraqian War. And what there is with the whole concept of these conflicts does not alter historically that one person dies on the battlefield for another to be saved.
Right.
Thank you.
Great comment. All right. Is Rose, are you still with us? No? All right. Rack, do you have a comment for Jay?
Yeah, I really like this, Jay. I had heard not the three prompts that you did, not that it doesn't fit them, but I heard Pat Bennett saw love as a battlefield. And I saw a lot of parallels between love and war and things like that, which is why I heard that in my head. But I like what oh my God. The section where you were talking about risk, I enjoyed that a lot too. Almost like, some people treat war like a game in my head. That's what I saw when you mentioned that, and and you're saying clearly it's not a game, and you don't get age of bones. I thought that was really clever, especially considering what's going on with the world now. And then that last line really ties more to the prompt than what I said. But, my mind is twisted to begin with. It's hard to get to sometimes. But, you clearly tied it exactly what you said in the ending and brought about, the emotion of love being more than love being something that's worth fighting for, and despite everything that's going on around us and everything else, and the devastation that war can bring, in the same way relationships can fall apart too. This is wonderfully layered and well written, Jay.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Agreed. So just before, I think Boo's there in quite a few more callers. Jay, your show tomorrow, and then
we have two people on hold, Momo and someone else.
Yeah, we got.
Yeah. Jay.
Yeah, noon Eastern tomorrow. It's our house, and then on Saturday at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern, we're going to have On the Verge with me and Verge, and we're going to talk about, if you got this, how words can change the world.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, great show. Great show.
Our sweet teacher, too, don't forget. And are you here, Momo? And then, I don't know if she's there. She's on Skype, so.
Right, Sweetie, do you have a comment for Jay? Because I'm sure he's in quite a bit of a rush. So just get comment for Jay quick.
Hey, Jay.
Hey, Sweetie.
How are you? I just want to tell you, the raw vivid passion in your imagery leaves my skin filled with power. My mouth filled with sand, my mind filled with horror, and my heart filled with love. And I thank you forever.
Thank you, sweet. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Great, man. Boo, do you have a closing comment for Jay?
Yeah, well, I know that you were really proud of this one, and you can see why. There's a lot going on here. I see a heartbreak. I see comparing it to war and other times like war. I love that movie too. I love the World of Arms. I think it's successful. Wheel of Fortune junkie, storm no one expected, very the whiskey glass. So, as damaged the souls just come back. They come back to other people, and they never remain the same. And I've died, broken to arrive here, final point, because, you've seen it all, you've been there, and you're just like, spent, you're done with it. And that makes me sad, but very strong. I love the wording. It's every emotion you can imagine. I think it's really great, and I love the structure. You did a really good job, Jay. Movie.
I appreciate it, Boo. Okay, I got to go, guys. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Right, Boo,
There's
who do
somebody
you
on
have?
608, but I don't know who that was. So I guess they hung out. And then somebody on 11111, but they're not talking. So
That's probably
Could have
me.
been the United States military.
Yeah. Okay, that's you, Rat? Okay, that's good.
Unless someone new called in, then it could be Skype. Skype called, I think, just 111 also. But Skype and block calls.
Okay, cool. All right, that's good. Because I knew we were gonna have a new caller, a first-time caller, but you didn't call yet. So, okay, who's next then, Rob?
All right, I'm gonna drop Rack. You got the audio for that, yeah?
Yeah. What's the name? Let's see. I got it.
Still.
Okay.
All right, I'm dropping it on the board.
Okay.
Still, by Raconteur. I wonder if I ever stood a chance. After all, what do I know about romance? You loved me for me, stared into my soul and embraced it, trusted me with your heart, and I went and misplaced it. And when closing your eyes could no longer ease the pain, and thinking of me caused your spirit to drain, you simply had to walk away or risk going insane. How I feel doesn't matter if we can't get past the strain. Oh, how I wanted to. Don't think for a minute this means I've stopped caring or ever will. What we had meant the world to me. I cherish the laughter and pleasure still, but the hole left behind is one I can never fill. You're truly gone, and long after reminders of us have turned to dust, and the tears I've cried have dried, I'll still love you. End poem.
Yeah, damn. Nice poem, Rack. Yeah, very reminiscent. Whether it be something that's from experience or something completely fictional, it speaks well to the prompt, to the songs that you've used. I think it's quite relatable to a lot of us. Things that we've gone through. Where things that have happened in relationships have become almost reflex, and our inactions and our actions have caused the disintegration of the relationship without any intention, but it still happened that way, and it purely comes down to almost a lack of communication in that aspect, because I don't believe that these sort of things happen overnight, but it's still something that progression and a build-up of things, and it really comes down to the lack of communication. But I think to some extent, anyone that's gone through at least maybe 3 relationships, because I've probably had that, not that many, but yeah, definitely have seen this happen, and very relatable, well read as well. I like that as well. All right, who else do we have with us? All right, Sweet Pea, your thoughts for Rack?
I think it's a lovely end to a love story where salty tears burn old wounds.
Agreed.
Thank you.
You're welcome, my dear.
And Boo, your thoughts? Comments?
She's talking to the mute button.
Yeah. Right, Raz.
How'd you know, Rack? How'd you know? Sorry. This is a new one, Rack, huh? Well,
Yes,
I always think
this is
about your reading.
really
Always, like, you can't help
romantic poem.
Listen.
Wait,
and
which one
you
do you
write
ask us, Boo?
here, and this is nothing new. You're emotionally not afraid to show it. I think lot of men are, and so that's one thing. But I like the picture too. But if you ever had a chance, I think we all wonder about that. Maybe the one that got away, or the one that you just felt you didn't do them right, or it wasn't the right time, maybe, or something like that. We've all had those feelings. Don't think for a minute this means I stopped caring or I ever will. It's those ones that change your life that you remember that you always love till the day you die. If you're on your deathbed, you still love them. So, like you ended there, I'll still love you. And very moving. And you just wrote this. I thought it was very beautiful. And I was touched. Nice job.
Thanks, Boo.
Yeah, sorry, that was my fault that you were speaking over each other. I think I need to wait for people to get back off mute. But yeah, sorry, Raz, you were saying.
Yeah, deeply romantic, and as they're expressing in the previous panel call, you have a sensitivity from the poet in which he's accepted things are over, and that's really just that. But if they had just the slightest heart to ever change their mind, you would never know why that door could still be open.
Yeah, that's definitely more about, the feeling and the emotion than why it happened. It's that it's not going to change how I felt. Thanks, Raz.
And it never will. If you really care about somebody, that you don't change how you feel. You might try, but it was only that easy.
Yeah. They get under your skin.
Yep. Can't shake them. Damn it. Even the harder you try. Good poem, Mac.
Right, yeah, and there's something very, very human about us being so reminiscent about things, kind of replaying scenarios, even though it's impossible that it would be any difference because it's happened and it's been and it's done, but still to kind of live in these fantasy dimensions of alternative outcomes, which is, I think quite a strange thing that we tortured ourselves that way, but we do it, don't we? Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. If no one's in that much of a rush, I'm going to drop Joseph Moon, and if Raz, if you could read that for us, and then next we'll do Sweet Pea, if that's okay.
Is that okay, Sweet?
Yes. I was thinking to myself how insane could be the reactions from the audience members on considering what goes on here. People are strange, but in the end, LCN is still the family. So I will read for Joseph Moon, and I've done this in the past. As you all know, he's an English professor who retired, and what there is of his life is tragic, that his wife has been lost. Those are some details of this poet. Also that he likes drinking dubious amounts of wine. But here we go with the poem. The day we met. The day we met, two spirits reached out to each other. I remember our first touch. Her hand was like a white lily. Her brightness, sweetness, and grace opened my orbs and showed me the joy and sorrow of love. We sat in silence. Real beauty has its own intangible language. It lies in the spiritual marrow that is tilted love, which can live betwixt soulmates, and the heart is full of affection. And the poem.
Thanks, Raz. Excellent read. And Joseph, what we've come to expect from you in terms of your sort of classical old master approach to poetry, it's really your essence in a lot of your work, whether it be something rhyming or free verse or whatever it is, just in between your language use, your phrasing and metaphors, and even some of the things like Spiritual Marrow, I think, is just absolutely fantastic. A really well-written poem. Thanks for sharing with us. Right. Sweet Pea, your thoughts?
There's no good on the radio. Sweet.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just saying how lovely and inspirational Joseph always is to me, and what a fantastic poem this is. And other things, but I'll just shorten it. Sorry.
Yeah, so nice you said it twice. Once from you, once for all of us. Right. Rack, what did you think, mate?
Yeah, he touches on the intricacies of the relationship, how she affected him, in a profound way, really. That connection, and that was part of what made it so strong, I guess. And I mean, it's just beautiful, Joseph. We all feel your emotions when you do this to us.
Yeah,
thank
absolutely. You. He takes us on a journey every time. Right, and Raz, you got to read it, so.
Yes, I see the genre is spiritual love and death, and I can't help but think he's still grieving over his wife in this piece. And it's done with a sense of impressionism and a bit of aesthetic quality in which that she's gone now, but still vibrantly alive in that very memory of love, which goes undying to him, like with the white lilies.
Yeah, thanks, Raz. All right, Sweet Pea, I see you've dropped yours on the board.
Yes.
All right, you can read for us whenever you're ready. Go for this.
Okay. This is kind of based on the Unknown Lady, A Million Little Pieces, and her voice. Perception, do you see me? Do butterflies still flutter in stomachs that drip with acid rain? Can smiles meld with gunmetal, shine on burnt faces full of pain? Antifreeze dissolves teardrops on cherry cherub cheeks, chilled against chapping in the shadows of self-retreat. Orbital reflections from a stranger's face create fairy tale kindness that crumbles with fate as the screams within the synapses crackle between the bridges of shame and disgrace. Extinguished fireballs of desire no longer rain. Glaciers float in frozen veins. Ice crystals shred the bone in off-key sounds of a two-pronged saxophone. Voice of an angel speaks in poetic tones. Ears listen to the devil's rhetoric in palindromes. Confusion spins on rusty subway turnstiles, and self-esteem vomits yellow bile. Eyes in the mirror stare back on repeat, believer of hope crushed by defeat. The cruelty of knowing the internal history tells no white lies and rots within the core, leaving no mercy. And poem.
Fantastic read and write, Sweet Pea. So what I was actually saying to Boo earlier about about our prompts and everything, because it's a little bit of a trial and error. You're all involved in the guinea pig experiment. Thank you very much. But to see what people come up with and what works, really, because this is about everyone that writes in and everyone that's involved, the people that call and everything. So to see, okay, well, this works, this doesn't work, no one wants to do this, people like to do this. And I was saying that my favorite writes actually have all been for this picture and the way that people have interpreted it, because it really, it requires an element of creativity to just see this, because it's such a snapshot or such a small frame of, it's an entire human being or it's an entire person, but you just see this small part of her. And that's a lot what poetry comes down to. It's taking snapshots of life and then expanding on that and making a bigger sort of realm out of it and creating sometimes an entire universe even from that. So I thought this was fantastically written. Some of the phrasing, I like the alliteration in stanza 2, cherry, cherub, cheek, and then Chapin. Really, lovely written, Sweet Pea. And
thank you.
Yeah, Boo, are you with us?
Boo's talking to her mute button again.
Yeah. I won't jump the gun and just get someone off because then it's going to be two people speaking at the same time, so I'll give it a moment. Boo?
She might have got busy too.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
She's working.
Black and Tear, your comments.
The thing Sweet Pea always seems to do that I love. She has a way of taking these seemingly innocent, beautiful images and eviscerating them in the same sentence. She'll talk about something, and then she'll be talking about yellow bile. She'll bring out this image and start you down a path, and then give you whiplash and take you in the complete opposite direction, almost like she's not sure if you're paying attention. But the pain in this and the stuff that you go through in this is just it tears at me a lot. I hear things and it forces me to think things and obviously none of it's based in fact because I haven't knowing any of it, but my mind works sometimes. It's just you lay out a picture that's just just make me want to give you a big hug.
Thank you, Rack.
Yeah, I'll just also add, I'm busy looking at the word synapses. I actually wrote an entire essay once on just why as a prefix was my favorite prefix. So I like that. Well, I'll point that out. That's just a weird quirk. Rad, you have some comments. Sorry about that.
Yes, there's definitely a heavy amount of pain here, how there's that one illusion, what you originally believed of popular symbolic images like cherry cherub and what you have of fairy tale kindness, and all of that disintegrates under the bridge of shame and disgrace as you proceed with this poem. It's kind of a bit like Sexton, even, on bringing those known metaphors of poetry into a modern context of society where everyone who said that you would do better or were looking after you are bound to be a terrible disappointment.
Thank you, Raz.
All right. Boo, if you are able to, Sol was trying to get in. If you could answer that.
Okay. All right.
Thank you so much. And by the way, we appreciate you so much. We know you're doing a million things at the same time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for steering the ship, as they say. In the meantime, I'm going to drop Raz, so Raz can read for us while you answer everyone and get all that sorted.
Yes, I thought of this right shortly after the mortuary at Poetic Slice of Life yesterday. Spend 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning thinking it out for myself. And this is called Timing Description. Appointed change of schedule, death fixation. The dog was who deserved the vaccination. Little girl missing, it gets happen. one-dimensional beings described around the broken scenery. Details do not match any such description. Little evidence of cause of suspicion. A fiber folded would have the whole web come undone. Dying with the grandma underwear, the National Socialist Organization nurse morphine sex fetish desire could blush the colors of night fluster. Map indicator marker, Idaho mudshot, 10,000 miles from red-shaded Missouri. You don't need to be doing what you're doing, sir. Office supply secretary, a buzz call from security. You should remain here while I call in backup. Easily said, then. Domed, truant veracity. Society's all the cogs in motion, and the room with the shattering clockwork, prompt marching crescendo, musical ventriloquism, suction cup filling the gas pump. Pieces of the grace outline the heavy shadow falling over the heartland. Video recorder footage showing the innocent kid at play prior to the abduction can crawl the worming skin. Prime masquerade, private thought of the recording altered to repeat. Personal and hidden realization with the 88mm skeet. 22 short flap, emotional granted jury verdict motion, Eastern County, Maryland, 1980. Underlined section heliograph. The maker in the control paragraph statement has his way. ID discovery of classic profiles. Anybody remind you of the killer characteristic lately? Gibson searched the address location, 2 a.m. All was well to presume the latter disappearing. The criminal wins at times, historically. The OJ believe in the valid premise of criminal mystery. Something chases behind, the shoulders sprinting from the descending black nightmare hot pursuit. Will the bad dream catch up to present tempo? Convicted murderer, close affinity to death, a stereotype of digital figures off stereo. Tell Nick Captain what's on your mind, the voice said, when the crucial moment was upheld to judicial court, secluded of the privy novice. Hunting the supernatural monster like a removed Bible chapter intertwined with deadly effects here ever after. Lost visual to potential in the subject matter, network, the bloated faces of the masks, the stars on dimming the reception to the outcome poor sight. Why waste life gloating about voice and heart not being equally productive, shoveling the dirt for the digging windpipe ditches? Garrett, so many years later, crying on himself at Richmond, Virginia, with the perfect white townhouse porches of letting the bastards clean the saucer and the scrapper. There had been a functional component to the hijacked membrane circuit board, started shooting up on the bone marrow, ran out of ashes to dust, paint a holographic photograph, Amélie Monet, to the sitting chancellor for Austin, chamber church organ skittering. Risk the hazards to one's death. The fire brigade blazes away, containing the smoke storm. 1970 demolished squad, dormitories in Michigan. Previous case file indicate official police complaint, detained withstanding the rightful warrant. Can you remember anything significant? Because they never got help and won't ever know. Nobody loves me. Nobody loves you. Nobody saw what it all means. Nobody else will ever do. Give up trying to play detective with a smuggler attic space, honeysuckle. I'm going to drop dead in the next 2 minutes, and there's not a logical explanation why. Sunday, 7:28 p.m., May, early summer, till full dusk. Emergency attention, waiting deduction. Think, what perfect timing description. End poem.
Awesome, thanks, Raz. Well read, and I think most people know that modernism is my probably favorite form of poetry and movements. I'm a massive believer and supporter of that movement, and your use of allusion and referencing and the extended analogy that you always carry through the use of individual metaphors and how it all ties in is just absolutely phenomenal. The skill of tying it all together is always so impressive without having to rely on using a vignette structure to break it up and using almost like the jump cut scenes of Godot, and then also breaking up into stanzas. I think the skill of that is truly admirable. The flow of it works so very well. Your storytelling, I mean, I'd love to read, maybe some like fiction of yours, and if you write a novel anytime, then let me know, because damn, if that's what you can do in such a short space. I think in the beginning, the pop culture and the 27 Club sort of romanticism of death is alluded to there. I saw something about the missing girl, which I thought about Maddie McCann a few years ago in Portugal. Something, these are just reading the first few lines as you're going along, and I see things about erotic auto asphyxiation. There's just so much in this that is just really phenomenal. How much you get, the layers and the layers and the layers that you get through with your poetry. It really amazes me every time. Just while we're busy, Salwa, are you with us? Have they answered you?
Yes, I am here. Sorry, I was on mute. I remind me of Montaigne. I don't know if you know Montaigne. He wrote intensively, a French writer, about dying, how to learn to die. Just for some reason remind me of that. It's almost like you talk about realistic stuff. I love what Rob said. Like you take this concept and take it all different perspective and dimension. That's why there's layers and layers. And here is no shortage of this. I see almost like before we don't know really when we're gonna die. Sometimes, unfortunately, these girls, even us, we don't know when we would depart. And this is very meaningful and very profound, right? Because we don't like to talk about it. It's life. We don't like to talk about that. We ignore it and we just move on with life. But we see it, and we in different ways every day. Everyone knows someone who died in their family in a way or another. So that's why it took me. But there's more than that. Can you remember anything significant? Because they never got help and won't ever know. Nobody loves me. Nobody loves me. And and especially now, it's so sad at this time. I think you also put it there. People are dying alone with this corona. No one to be there for them. No one. It's just the most horrible experience. I hope no one has to go through this, and I feel sorry for the people who lose their family like this. It's just, I can't imagine. They can't even say their goodbye. So, and the timing, we always put timing very specifically. There's so much, but because I was literally listening and trying to get in my brain, I read it, but I have to read it. That's my first impression, but I have to read it again. Absolutely outstanding as always.
Exactly. Yeah, there's so much to it.
My pleasure.
And I agree. I mean, the relevance in today's time where so much of it is happening in nursing homes and everything. Boo, I think you've let someone else in, haven't you? Boo.
Now I say hello, everyone. Sorry, I just wanted to say hello to everyone. Sweet Pea, I don't get to see her a lot, so Sweet Pea, especially Sweet Pea.
Hello.
And Rajan.
Hello, Sawa.
Hi.
Sweet Pea.
And hi, everyone.
Could you make a...
Yeah, let's go in. I'm sorry. Hi, Sal.
Yeah.
Hello.
Sweet Pea, you come in for Raz, please.
Oh, I am thoroughly impressed with mentions of the, serial killer who used grandma's underwear for, God knows, a lamp or whatever he did.
What happened?
Sweet.
Yeah.
We lose her?
It seems like she's dropped in the suddenness of her silence. So I'll go on with Rack. If you,
oh my goodness, today.
If you could hold the silence.
Raz has a wonderful ability to give us a stream of consciousness laced with pop culture and, taking us all over the place in a very layered way. And on first blush, a lot of people will say, it's abstract or it doesn't have anything to do with itself. But the more you dig, the more you can see the connection, and that's the beauty in the way he writes, I think. I see this, as someone kind of contemplating their mortality, mentioning about being alone and being loved and everything else, and when they're going to die. And I really enjoyed it, Raz. You've got, a very unique style for this site. I don't know outside or wherever if there's anyone else that writes the way that you do, but, I can always count on when you bring us something that it's got, like Sweet Pea was mentioning the underwear. You've got, I can't even think of another example of something in there, but, all of that laced into the same poem. And it does make sense, despite what some people might say. My warped mind sees it, so it's got to be true.
Yeah, excellent comment. Exactly, I agree 100%. I mean, these are the sort of poems that you can just write an entire thesis on just about, because every word means several things, Boo, your thoughts?
Boo.
I think she's conferring with Sweet Pea.
You're talking about perception being seen, right?
There you are.
There you go.
Yeah. I love the
Welcome.
entry. You're talking about Sweet Pea, right? I knew Sweet Pea was going to fix this one.
No. We with Raz.
Oh, with Raz. Sorry, Sweet Pea. I'm way behind. Oh, Raz, sorry. Okay, I need a minute. Sorry.
Well, we brought up underwear, so it's okay to be behind.
Yeah, you just fold them inside out and you wear them again, don't you? Okay, well, we can get back to that, Boo. You can leave a comment or something. We know you're very busy. You're still at work and everything. In the meantime, are you able to play Salwa's SoundCloud? I'll put the link on the board. Boo.
Maybe Raz can help. Raz or Raconteur, they know how to do it. I feel so sorry for Boo. She's running back and forth, poor thing. Raz or Raconteur, can you help? Hello?
Yeah, I could put the link if Boo's occupied right now for you, Rob.
She's concerned with someone hitting the play button because she's got an audio out there, and we don't know what Boo might have named it if she put it in the studio.
All right, we can get back to that.
I could place it on the board though with the hyperlink.
All right, no, we can go on. We need for Laughing Soul, we can put something on. She'll need a reader. Yeah, Salwa, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure. I would love to read her. I'd be honored. Okay.
All right.
I love her writing. Wires. I'm on or not? Yes, I'm on. I thought I was on mute. Sorry.
Perfect.
Okay. Wait, not for blooms on barbed wire. Light the word with kindness, like wildfire. Fear I've seen dwell in eyes so naive. Those migrated in circumstances dire. Hearts yearn to love and morsel some. Wander beyond boundaries and the masked pyre. Sunshine, one seeks, close not doors. What shame we built walls so higher. Evoke though conscious, be true, be you. Only then shall you grave. Then I admire. End of poem. Laughing Soul. Oh goodness. I love this poem.
Read. Thank you, Salwa.
My pleasure.
You write Laughing Soul. Raz, do you have a comment for Laughing Soul?
Yes, definitely. I see this writer putting out a little bit more each time of what their potential talent is trying to develop into a more masterful stroking of these pieces. At first, she seemed a bit coy on mentioning how there's a conflict in our own society, but now she's become a bit forward, and it's very true that we have to set these boundaries, like she's pointing out, when it comes to respecting one another enough to not carry out senseless, brutal wars in which everyone loses. So when the poet reaches that perspective from the humane point of society, they're usually very lucid, not why these nations decide to only increase our own global losses.
Excellent comments. Agree. G, I think that's the nickname. I enjoyed the rhyme throughout, the sort of A, B, C, B, D, B, E, B, F, B. I like the sort of the call to arms, that, almost the kind of, the sort of, wait not for, what other people do. You should light the world with your kindness. The thoughts of nature and art in relation to artists. I like the ending. Only in your grave they'll admire. Speaking to the prompt and the general theme of this evening of sort of different mediums of art and being inspired by that. Something like we were speaking about earlier with maybe Jean-Michel Basquiat, his success during his life that he experienced, or someone like Picasso who also experienced success in his life. But then we also think about poets or rather painters like Van Gogh, who he saw one poet painting in his life, which I think in inflation considered, it was worth about $2,000 in his whole life, where today several of his works, or 7 paintings of his, are valued at just under $1 billion. It's about $950 million dollars. So that ties into the general theme for me at the end there. I thought was a well-written piece, and again, the rhyme structure was saying quite nice for me. That stood out. Right, Salwa, you got to read it.
Oh, I love this poem. Anything that touched to humanity really moved me, and this is one of them. God created us to really connect with each other and help each other, not do the opposite. And unfortunately, that's not what happened in the world. There's so much fear, so much hate, and there's so much, especially there is the xenophobia, the other, that immigrants for some people are the other, and xenophobic, really. That's what I see here. And she's described it beautifully. The fear that they have to go through. The image is just brutal. The child holding in this wire with the flower. I'm here with peace. I'm not there to hurt. I just want peace with the flower bouquet in her hand, but probably bleeding from the wire. Just amazing. Fear I've seen dwell in eyes so naive of those immigrated in circumstance dire. And people come to other countries. People say, why? Oh, they want to come and take our jobs. There's literally because either they're social or poverty, whatever the reason. And there's room for everyone. I don't believe there's no room. I believe there's room for everyone. And I just love this conscious. She's so beautiful, like the reflection of her heart to bring this up. I just moved deeply, really. I remember, remind me of how this woman I read recently broke my heart. This Mexican woman, young girl, who trying to cross from the wall, and she fell. She was pregnant. I literally was in tears for a whole day, knowing that she's trying to save her child and herself, and here she died trying to cross the other line. It's just devastating, and people, I really make me emotional these stories. So I really appreciate it and admire your humanity here. Beautifully done, every line and every message.
Yeah, Raz, have you commented for G?
Yes. Didn't I comment the previous time, or was that in my head?
You did.
You did?
Yeah.
All right.
I'm not hallucinating?
No, you did.
Not this time.
Not this time. It must be me this time. Okay.
Raconteur didn't.
Yeah,
Whose audio do you want? Okay.
Oh, the one I posted
He
there.
was looking for Salwa's audio.
Audio, okay, for Salwa, okay.
Yeah. In the meanwhile, Rak, do you have a comment for Laughing Soul?
Definitely. I loved the language that she used. This is she packed a lot, so it's a brevity, so you have to use the strong language that she did. The commentary on the immigration, I think, hit me the hardest in this. The verse about the fear, and mentioning the circumstances, why they come here. It's kind of, I don't know. And the people that are unaccepting of it is just, heartbreaking, because there's no reason for it. It's like, you can argue about limited resources and everything else, but really, people are just trying to live their lives, and who the hell are we to tell them they can't do it here, there, or whatever. If they could get here and try and cut out a little swath of heaven, who's to try and stop them? And she talks about hearts wanting love and things like that, and all of that. She's touching on some very emotional things that are really beautifully said.
Agreed. Great comments. Yeah, and agree. So very good comments. There's a great humanity, and it ties into Lawrence's poem at the beginning as well. Writing on the on humanity and the less fortunate. But I'm going to drop Salwa's SoundCloud first, then we'll go into Momo's poems. Someone will read that for you, and then I think Boo needs to read as well. She's quite busy. And then, yeah, so Salwa, yes, I've dropped it on the board. Boo, could you get the audio for those?
Yeah, what's it called?
I learned.
I learned. Okay, got it.
I love poems. I learned. J'ai appris. I learned to suppress my childhood tears. I left them behind. I had to leave them there. And oh, how I wish they don't linger in my memories, and never be alone with my fears. My wound seems to heal, yet this pain is real. And oh, how I wish time can erase pain and tears for real. When I cry, I wipe away my tears, then I smile. When I scream in my dreams, I fight away all the fears I did hold on for so many years, so many years. I used to hide from my gerated fears. Would I still be bound by the life I left behind? Faces and steps, haunts my night, my sleep. My prayers chase them away, one by one. My wound seems to heal, yet this pain is real. And oh, how I wish time can erase pain and tears for real. When I cry, I wipe away my tears, then I smile. When I scream in my dreams, I fight away all the fears. I held on for so many years, tried so hard to tell myself this is all gone, but though they are still with me when I'm alone so many nights, I'll keep trying so hard until one day I can say they are all gone far away forever. They are all gone far away forever. Once only as I stood and stared wildly around, did it seem that, though now awake, I could still see pale lights like eyes, but soon they flickered and vanished. J'ai appris à réprimer mes larmes d'enfance. Je les ai laissées derrière, j'ai dû les laisser là-bas. Et oh, comme j'aimerais qu'ils ne s'attardent pas dans ma mémoire, que je ne sois jamais seule avec mes peurs. Mes blessures semblent guérir, mais cette douleur est réelle. Et oh, comme je souhaite que le temps puisse effacer la douleur et les larmes pour de vrai. Quand je pleure, j'essuie mes larmes puis je souris. Quand je crie dans mon rêve, je combats toutes les peurs que j'ai tenues pendant tant d'années. Je me cachais de mes pleurs revenantes. Serais-je toujours liée par la vie que j'ai laissée derrière moi? Les visages et les pas hantent ma nuit, mon sommeil. Mes prières les chassent un par un. Mes blessures semblent guérir, mais cette douleur est réelle. Et oh, comme je souhaite que le temps puisse effacer la douleur et les larmes pour de vrai. Quand je pleure, je suis mes larmes, puis je souris. Quand je crie dans mon rêve, je combats toutes les peurs que j'ai tenues pendant tant d'années. J'ai tellement essayé de me dire que c'est fini. Pourtant, ils sont toujours avec moi quand je suis seule tant de nuits. Je continue d'essayer, si dur, jusqu'à qu'un jour je puisse dire ils m'ont quitté loin d'ici à jamais. Ils m'ont quitté loin d'ici à jamais. Une fois seulement, alors que je me levais et regardais follement autour de moi, sembla que bien que maintenant, réveillée, je pouvais encore voir des lumières pâles comme des yeux, mais bientôt ils vacillèrent, disparurent. End of poem.
Oh wow! If the interior decorating or the pastry bakery doesn't work out, then I definitely think you should just make French poetry to violin music, because that's quite something. I was hoping there'd be some Arabic as well, because especially since all the Saharan music I've been listening to and the Berber and the Arabic, the bands that I've been listening to recently.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah,
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm not, actually, I don't know if you know, Sam, she tells me my Arabic is horrible. So I make a lot of mistakes.
It's better than all of ours, so there's that.
So my French is better than my Arabic, unfortunately.
Right, it's all better than all of ours. We learn from it. So.
She always come tell me, do this, change that, edit this. So I'm kind of afraid. That's why. But I love Arabic. I will try. I'm gonna, even if there are mistakes, who cares? I will try to do. I know it, but that's the reason.
Better than all of ours.
That's the reason.
All of us.
That's the reason.
We try and write in one language and we barely get that right. You know, you do 3 usually for us, sometimes 4. Again, there's so many things to this. So, and as I've previously said to one of your poems, that even when there is a maybe a sad undertone or something that's maybe of a depressing nature, it's wrapped in this warmth and this comfort that you give. And in this, there's the layers relating to childhood trauma and manifestations and ramifications thereof, dreams, insomnia, PTSD, and all these different inflictions. But then you offer the alternative. So it's not just something that's problematic or something that's just depressing. You give us a spiritual element of healing, and then the confronting and acknowledging the pain and the trauma, and that once we do that we develop as people, and then we can get past it, as you say, the things that we've held on to for so many years, that we can develop and exonerate those things. So I think it's great in that aspect, that it's not just one-dimensional of being a poem, which maybe so many times I'm guilty of writing things that are just negative and moaning. But it gives us these solutions as well, of meditation and spiritual healing. So I think it's fantastic, and you always offer that warmth and that comforting. Rak, do you have a comment for Solwa?
Oh, absolutely. This is like all of your writing. It's absolutely stunning. The title I learned lets you use the platform to tell us. As Rob put it, he mentioned whining. You're not whining, but by saying that you learned, and then going into detail, the things that you've learned, you clearly illustrate that, the things that pain teaches us, and the lesson that, it sounds like a simple concept, dealing with something like this, kind of acknowledging it, but, you have to be able to take its power away from you. You talk about there was a verse where you talk about being alone. They're still there, but you're still alone. It's like they don't have that power over you anymore. You kind of overcome them, and that's the hope in a lot of the way that you write that shines through more than anything, because whatever you've gone through, you still have this way of mentioning your faith, or mentioning something that inspires you to think that there's got to be more to it than just this. And I'm even more guilty than you, Rob, of lamenting about how horrible things are. But I kind of do it with the understanding that once I bitch about it, I'm done with it. I don't have to look at it again or feel it anymore. So I'm happy with it. But Salwa, you do it in a much more positive way, and again, in such beautiful language, well written.
Oh, thank you, my friend.
Exactly. I think Rak, it's a sense of almost addressing the things and calling them out, rather than just like leaving the baggage out there and then saying, well, someone else deal with that. There we go, I've left it, I've written it on the page, and I'm done with it. So, but this offers more. It gives you part 2 as well, the sequel, a solution. Raz, do you have a comment for Solwa, please?
Yes, my interpretation would be a monologue. What there are the sentiments I see conveyed here. It's just someone who just can't anymore go on pretending that there was not that original psychological trauma. They did not proceed to go on suffering from depression without receiving any form of solace from society, and that just makes the world seem all that more cold by the time you're facing these emotions again, that you've reached no form of spiritual, emotional, or physical fulfillment, and are still very much alone.
Thanks, Raz. Excellent comment. Boo, are you there to give a comment for us?
Can I say something quickly to Rob?
Yeah,
go ahead. Can I respond? I mean, it's weird. I know that I could, I really have no depression in spite of this, but there is pain. But thank goodness, no depression. I don't know how in the world, but I don't have this. Or I know I'm hiding now with my laugh, but no, I don't know. But I just let you know. I had to say that. But thank you, Roz. I understand that could be feeling depression, but no.
Yeah, well said, Boo.
Oh no, I wasn't trying to condescend.
What did you just say?
It's just
no.
All that crying with the poem. So I associated some form of a symptom like depression.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying you can defend me. That's normal, like you said, but I'm just saying that I don't have it, that's all. Doesn't mean you, no condescending. I know you're not, Roz. I would never think that anyway. So, thank you.
Yeah.
Boo?
This is, really strong, and, I know you've been through a lot of shit, especially in your childhood, and if anybody can do it, you can. I learned to suppress my childhood tears and left them behind. I had to leave them there. That's what you have to do. If you hold on to them, you're just going to drown and melt, and you're just going to... And then, the people who hurt you, they win. And I refuse to let those fuckers win. And so I hope you do too. I know you love your clouds. I see your picture there. Beautiful. And I know you're very spiritual, which I also admire. My prayers chase them away one by one. My wounds seem to heal. The pain is real. Yeah, that's something that you never forget. But you are an example, and you are an inspiration to a lot of people's childhood. You're a lot stronger than you think you are. A wonderful friend and a great person and a lovely poem.
Thank you. Thank you. Cool. Love you too.
Thank you, Boo. All right, I'll read for Momo, I believe, or Roy KBMW, and then we're gonna do Tila, if that's okay, if no one's in a rush.
Is Momo has audio?
No, I'll read for her. Okay.
Alrighty.
All right, so I'll just drop that on the board again. And this is by Momo. It's called Even Evil Ever Eats. Even evil ever eats, amid apocalypse, torn tooth torture treats, rancid rain rust roots, over out over off, yawn your year's yeast. Pledge praises, profile profits, lure light, lock lumps, erode ethics, excite evil, airs abrupt acid abuse, seal, stitch sweat skins, end endorse, encounter ease, garnish grief, garlands groom, order ordeal overseas, destroy devil's dark dorm. End of poem. Right. Boo, do you have a comment?
I think when you call on her first, you'll find that she's never there.
Yeah. So into the abyss and into the void, it comes back to me. Thanks, Momo, for sharing with us. And again, using that prompt, a lot of creativity there. Definitely a bit of alliteration that I noticed going on over here. Quite unique in that. And yeah, much to contemplate. Yeah, quite an interesting poem. I'll leave a comment for you once I read it again. And Salwa, your thoughts? on Momo's.
I agree with you. You said great read and great poem that you have to contemplate again. Her writing for her age. I don't think writing has her age really. Some people start prodigy. She's a prodigy writer. Even evil ever eats. I mean the wording itself. It's so true when you leave something, like anything grow, and evil, I think it's even worse than goodness because it spreads so fast when you let it spread. And I think that's what she's trying to say. When you leave and it'll eat you, will torture you, will destroy devil dark dome. It really does. It's like a rusted rain, rust roof. I'm trying to understand it. I'm really reading right now, and I'm not really good with surrealism picture, but that's what I see. Even prophets themselves had to go through so much pain and so much evil from people to accept them. I think that's maybe what she's trying to say here by the pledge of the prophets. And there is the ordeal overseas. I'm not sure about what she means by overseas, but in general, I think this last stanza kind of lost. But I feel like the really description of evil, how can eat so fast and destroy things so fast if we don't control it. It's absolutely deep, and it's so true. Because each one of us, I think we talked about this before with Big Verge, everyone has I don't agree completely 100% because you can work on yourself and make it dormant. I'm not saying I'm a saint or anything, but I'm awareness. We talked about this with a lot of friends, that if you work on yourself, you can push away this evil in you, and goodness take over. Everyone can do that. So I think this is really very, especially now in our time. There's so much happening. There's so much hate. I don't know if it's only our time. When I see stuff, history, it's always happened, but now the media make it more present, I think. Probably. That's why we see it more present. But I think always human nature, history existed, even will always exist. We can get rid of it. Amazing write and amazing read.
I agree. Thanks, Salwa. Very good comments. Rak, do you have a comment to add for Momo? I believe Boo's in a bit of a rush, and then she's just going to drop hers. Sorry, Rak, your comments?
Yeah, no, that's fine. The alliteration in this made it a little difficult to read, and probably made it a little more abstract than it could have been. But I appreciate her going with it and sticking to the form. To make it one big piece like that. The message that I'm seeing here, that there's a lot about evil and destruction and yearning but the overall, I don't know what she's commenting on. It feels something like I don't know, social commentary on war. I don't know. I mean, even the last line is confusing to me because I'm looking at the destroys devil's dark dorm. I mean that's the devil's dwelling, so that's something's destroying hell, which is a positive thing, which is the exact opposite of most of the language that I'm getting. So I'm real confused with this one. So yeah, it's kind of hard for me to comment on it. I'm not understanding it very well.
Yeah, if you could maybe say something about that on the board, Momo, then that will be cool for all of us, and we'll have it read out on the radio to maybe elaborate on your vision of this poem. Raj, was there anything maybe that you spotted, because you've got you got eagle eyes?
Yeah, I was commenting on this before, but it wasn't the right piece at the time. And like I was saying, I see heavy amounts of religion here, someone who's grown dissatisfied not only at the church but the world, and how it considers deeper roots like Scripture, to the point of which what they're facing is some kind of nightmare that none of us, the majority, know how to even believe in God, and it reminds them of this evil of which they speak on a subconscious level, kind of trying to destroy the very fundamentals of why there's knowledge in order to build society.
Yeah, exactly why I said that you'd see things that we've missed. So what Momo's added on the board, it's a request to God from her side to eat her because she is an evil. So there's some depth and something in that.
It can also be thought like that.
Yeah.
I think she said she was evil.
Myself.
As the commitment to the form throughout was, was some sort of commitment. And on that note, I'm going to add a poem by Boo called "Holier Than Thou." All right, Boo.
How appropriate.
You're up.
Yeah, how appropriate. That's funny. I'll
that is
comment,
funny.
Momo. I'm yours after.
Yeah, we know you're in a bit of a rush. There we go.
Song, but yeah, I'm not going to be in a rush. I just wanted to get over with in case. So I'm not going to leave. I'm going to say, but of course, obviously, you're doing a great job, Rob. Sorry, but I can't multitask. Okay, so it goes like this. Lord, I need some divine redemption. I feel like a heathen through the night. Depart from solemn words of wisdom. Please deliver your blessed sacred rights. Ignorant, spiteful, closed-minded, and afraid. Morals we built our life the same, and hate betrayed. Wholly self-righteous and completely hypocritical. Sanctimonious, bullies, bigoted, and parasitical. Saving grace, your wrath is so sweet. I am consumed by its salvation. We all bleed the same color. Save us all from eternal damnation. Foreigners on our land, truth gave us fight. But for him it seems equality is not given a right. Ridiculed, scorned, filthy sinner, heathen. You, if not the other, can we believe in? I make a covenant with this day forth. Our filthy lifestyle will have us burned. Fill them with your righteous deed. I skipped a line there. Respect isn't given, it's earned. It's supposed to say. Eyes darkened as they're tinted with hate. Your ears too filled to listen to debate. You surge civil rights that have been denied. Who will be the prejudice fool that history leaves behind? Command me down on my knees. I'm praying with my mouth to please. I offer myself as your possession to use whenever at your discretion. And boom. And I forgot a whole line. Oh my God.
Okay.
You must have snorted it.
Happens, Boo.
Jesus.
There we go. That's what
get for
is one. That live poetry coming to you right from all of us.
Fucking shit.
Yeah.
How embarrassing.
So the link is on the board if anyone wants to read it. Those listening in, it's on All Poetry, La Cosa Nostra. If you want to get in there. Yeah, just to read some stats. I actually, before the show, so this is the first time I've seen the poem, but going on with the gender-based violence theme. So some statistics in South Africa, and this is just, sorry to put it that way, it's very extreme. Every 3 hours, a woman is murdered in South Africa. This is from a newspaper I have next to me that I was reading before the show. 40%, the likelihood a woman in South Africa will be raped at least once in her life. 114 rapes on average were recorded by police every day between 2019 and 2020. And then there's some more that I won't get too much into, but so it's really something that that we don't really even understand. And as I said on a show